rea te rangi e tū nei, wai rea te popa e takoto nei, wai rea te taumata kōrero ngā mātua kua mene ki te pō tihei, Māori ora e hoama, nau mai hoki mai, welcome back to the podcast, the Taumata Kōrero, the quintessential space to disseminate a little bit of esoteric knowledge. Ooh, that was good. Was that good?
That was pretty good, bro, yeah.
How good? I am your host, Raniere Harrison. I will be taking you through the next, what do we say, 40, 50 minutes? See if we can crack an hour. What do you reckon?
40 minutes is good.
Yeah, 40 minutes is good. Short, sharp, hard and fast. Just how we like it when we're talking about the law. We are going to be talking law. And in the hot seat today, e hoama, I have one of the most, how should we sell this, brother? Enlightened legal perspectives, Māori legal perspectives walking planet Earth. In 2019. I'm building you
That's
up too much.
stretching, bro. That's stretching.
I'm selling it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in the hot seat, the one, the only, Mr. Kingi Snelgar. Kei takuranga tire te tuakana e Kingi. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, bro.
How's things, Chief?
Good, bro. Good to be here. Stoked to be following your podcast and its choice. Thanks for giving me the call up. Pretty honoured.
You've been sliding in my DMs for the last, since I started the last 7 episodes. Like, bro, when's it my turn?
Come on, bro. Come on. That's Hikurangi, not me.
Heku Jackson, already thrown under the bus. Anyway, bro, I'm going to throw it over to you, bro. Ka tukuna te wahanga ki a koe, mau, pia e whakamārama mai ko ai koe, no hea koe, bro. For those who don't know who you are, where you come from, and the many beautiful things that you've achieved in the legal spectrum, tell us a bit about yourself, bro.
Kia ora, bro. Tēnā tātou katoa e mātakitaki ana. Uri tēnei no te nota, ko parihaka te maunga, hātea te awa, pihaori me te marae, Ngāpuhi nūtone te iwi, a place that you know well, bro, pihaori, te kake whānau, that's where I'm born in Whangarei, spent a few of my years there and then moved to Auckland for schooling. But and then I have some bones in te Whakatōhea, Ngāi Tahu and Te Arawa, but mainly from the north.
That's quite the whakapapa lineup, bro. Like, pihaori te marae, that's hātea kapahaka, one of the most... Well, actually, we'll stop there.
Yeah, no, good group, bro. I think, they should have made that top 9, but it's just my view. But
that's none of my business.
Yeah, no.
Bro, let's get into it. I was hitting you up and we were talking about Māori and the law. Yeah. And then when I got here, we were talking about Māori and the law. Are we talking L-A-W or L-O-R-E? There's that... what's that called? That's a tuki ana ngā mea e rua, te tikanga me te ture.
Aye.
Talk to me about... well, actually, let's take it back to the start, bro. Talk to me your journey, how you ended up where you are today and what you do today.
Yeah, bro. So basically... I came from that generation that was lucky enough to go to Kōrero in the 80s. My mum helped us establish Kakariki Kohanga in Titirangi. I was really fortunate to go there and grow in te reo from a young age. And then went to Kōwhai and Westmere Primary School, then to Ngāpuna Whale there for a bit, and then an institution that we know well, Te Kura Tuarua or Kingi Kāreti, just down the road here from where we are today. So pretty interesting journey, but I think being Māori and listening to some of the kōrero from our elders about the treaty, about the impacts of the law on our language, on our lands, I, from an early age, kind of was really keen to get involved in that space. Seeing people like Winston and John Tamihere as a young fella, I was inspired to follow their path a bit in terms of the law. Probably a bit idealistic, and now I'm in the in the trenches in Manukau in South Auckland working as a defence lawyer, but I'm really grateful for all the early exposure to te ao Māori and just listening to those kōrero from elders.
Talk to me about, I want to take you right back to the start. We're going to get to the Te Wharekura or Kingi Kāreti, Te Wharekura or King's College. But I want to talk to you about Kākāriki, Te Kohanga or Kākāriki out in West Auckland, bro. Both you and I know there were some very important people, not only in a legal sense, but in a te ao Māori sense, who I have no doubt in my mind would have played an integral part in shaping who you were and how you see the world. Talk me through some of those people, bro.
Papa Hone is one of the main ones, early days he had some interesting ways of making sure that you only spoke te reo. I won't go into the details of his ways of disciplining you. If you spoke Hone Taimana, so he was a great teacher in te reo and just in being humble, and I think he instilled those kind of values in me from a young age and with his whānau. But he had some interesting ways of disciplining. They wouldn't be tolerated today if you spoke English, but I think about the really deep learnings he gave me from a young age. Yeah. And I'm really grateful to my mum, who just saw an advertisement in the community news bulletin and said, oh, yeah, I should send my son to kohanga because, my mum missed out, I missed out, so I'm going to change that with my son. And now we have heaps of kids like yourself that have been through the kura system, and, we just need to keep pursuing that that way.
Yeah. It's my boy, your nephew Te Ahi Koma, who actually starts school tomorrow.
I know.
He was actually a student for a small time there at Kākāriki, bro.
True.
Yeah, bro. And so when we were enrolling, when my ex-partner now and I were enrolling him there, bro, and I was like, I actually hadn't heard of it, and then one of the kaiako there was, dropping some of the names, and I was like, far out, this is like the circle of life.
Yeah.
Simba.
Yeah.
Like, it's the kohanga reo circle of life, bro. And it's awesome, bro, that we can bring our kids into a space where we're starting to rebuild these things that were taken away from our grandparents, some of our parents too.
Yep.
And we're kind of starting to see that blossom.
Yeah, and we shouldn't forget that those things that they missed out on wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
That there was policies and from the government that prevented them from learning their language and their culture. So no, but I think the other thing is just not getting too complacent. For me, with my te reo, I'm okay. I'm a bit scratchy, but I know that I need to continue to upskill, and then with our next generation, just keep them and keep taking them home and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Bro, I wanna have story time with Uncle Rans now.
Yep.
And I want to take you back to January 2004. It was the day before my official first day at King's College, premier secondary, exclusive secondary institution, blah blah blah, te mea here in Aotearoa. I was 12 years old when I was like a fish taken out of Māori water, and I was thrown into the fishbowl that is King's College. My parents and myself were being taken around the school, and then we proceeded to head to my boarding hostel, which would become my home for the next 4 years. Yeah. I got there, bro. I'll be honest with you, I was scared shitless, pretty much. But when we got around, we were walking around dormitories, te mea, toilets, blah, blah, blah. And then we got towards the prefect's common room. And I tell this story a lot. We get towards the prefect's common room and my nose pricks up and I'm going, actually, I recognize that smell. And lo and behold, it was the smell in one of the most exclusive secondary schooling institutions in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, it was the smell of boil up, and which was being prepared and cooked by the one, the only, Mr. Kingi Snelgar. Yeah. It was from that day, bro, and I tell a lot of people this, whoever will listen, I actually think you were put there, bro, to calm my nerves, bro. It was big. Talk to me. It was big for a 12-year-old Māori boy to be put in a Pākehā school like King's. Yeah. Talk me through your experiences through attending a school like King's as a young Māori man, a boy turning into a man. Yeah,
still a boy, really.
Don't be like that, mate. Don't be like that.
I remember that day well too. I remember seeing you and I thought, hey, there are tohu, there are those things that happen for a reason. Yeah. So, I'm glad that you got to share with us. I'm sure we gave you some, did we?
Did I look like I had too few many?
Yeah, but no, you're right. King's is such a difficult environment going from kura to a place like that. And at the time I hated it. I hated King's. I hated the racism that I was exposed to. I was in an era, same as you, where Don Brash was at the height of his powers. Yeah. Orewa speech, fōshō sibir, and you walk into a classroom, anything about the treaty, you are now the one spokesperson for Te Ao Māori on why is it that Māori are entitled to all these things, that they should just move on and get on with it. Those kind of experiences too really made me a lot tougher being exposed to that racism.
What are some of the when we this isn't the first time we've had a wānanga, bro. Yourself and another one of our mutual friends, Hikurangi Jackson, who was also a student at King's from 2004 onwards. All three of us have experienced racist experiences at King's, bro. I can go back to a time in 2004, bro, where I wasn't referred to as Raniera. I was referred to as my ID number, bro. 13010. And 15 years on, I still remember that number, 13010. Yeah. Because my Scottish science teacher couldn't say my name.
That's crazy. Yeah, this is like a prison number. You're referred to as a number, not a person. Yeah. And that diminishes your mana and the name that you were given. I'm sure for a reason. I used to get crazy stuff. Whenever police sirens went past, kids would look at me and laugh and say, Kingi, hi, they're after you, or they're after your family.
Far, right?
The N-word was what people described me and my family as. You know, and then even when I went home, it was the opposite. You know, I was either too fair or I was a townie. So, you know, like lots of us living those difficult places. But I am grateful for those experiences because I think it's made me tough. You know, being exposed to that racism. I know those kids were just parroting what their parents had told them. I do feel sorry for them a bit that they were ignorant. And a lot of them actually are now my mates that were once racist. You know, I've taken them home to the marae and shown them what Māori culture is. Yeah. It's not once we're warriors. So, no, I think there's room for change, even for those really out-the-gate ones.
And I mean, it warms my heart, bro, to see that now Te Reo Māori is a compulsory subject at King's.
Yep.
Year 9 and 10.
Yeah,
and
bro,
a little birdie told me that you were actually one of the forefront figures who were paramount in getting Te Reo, like, compulsory. Like, obviously there's our tuakana Lincoln Savage, who's the HOD Māori at King's now, but long before that in 2004 7:30 in the morning we were doing Te Reo Māori lessons, bro.
Yes, bro, I remember that, running those lessons. You probably didn't need them, but with a fellow called Warren Beasley, do you remember him?
Yeah, bro.
And you know, I remember as a 13, 14-year-old rocking up to the headmaster and saying it's not good enough that I can't learn my language, and that I have to do correspondence. So we had people like Kepa Sterling that came over.
Yeah, bro.
And you know, it definitely wasn't me, but there were a group of us that were pushing hard. But you know, I'm grateful that now at the, you know, one of the premier schools for Pākehā that we have Te Reo, so that those people, when they become directors of companies, you know, judges and so forth, understand Te Ao Māori a bit better than what they would. So yeah, no, and heaps of Māori boys at King's too, which is great. Yeah,
bro. In listening to you talking like that, I can't help but pick on a sense of it. Like there was a streak of activism in there, that you were prepared at 13, at 14 to fight the headmaster of one of the most exclusive secondary schools in the country to learn your reo. Talk to me the progression, how that ended up, and then 2000, and what was your first year at uni, bro?
2009, 8?
Oh, was it?
Oh no,
that
2005.
Was 2005. 2005, how did you end up at... Talk me through your journey into tertiary education, bro.
I kind of wanted a year off, bro, because I felt quite overwhelmed by that King's experience. Yeah, I felt a bit battered. I didn't know who I was a little bit, or what I wanted to do in some ways, although I was pretty good at projecting this image that I had it all together. Yeah. But I had questions about, you know, do I want to be a lawyer and all that stuff, so I took off a year and worked at New World full time for a bit.
Did you actually?
Yeah, bro, yeah, in the chilled food section. Ate a lot of corned beef and played a lot of cards with some of the our whanaunga there from the Pacific, and just, you know, got my head out of the academic space. Yeah. And then worked at Māori TV, and then kind of thought, actually, law would be good, so I got into law school and got through that. And, you know, met you fellas again. I remember you coming knocking when I was involved with the Māori student group, and but yeah, that's about it really. So, like, did you always know, even though that year you had off, bro? So we've known one another for 15 years. I didn't even know you had a year off to go and work at New World. I thought you went straight to Māori TV. Nah, bro, yeah, I worked at New World for, I think it was about 6 or 8 months.
True.
Yeah, on 7. Not much money. I was going to say something else. I caught myself. Yeah, not much, like $7.50 an hour back then. I think. Yeah, early starts, but I was 17 and just needed a break. And then got into uni. Worked at Māori TV. You know, that kind of opened my mind to some awesome people in Māoridom. And then uni, I really kind of found my feet. I think found my whānau with NTM and TRT, Ngāi Tahu Māori and Te Rākau Ture, the Māori law student group. And just kind of haven't really turned back since then. Let's
switch it up now. Let's start getting deep in the wānanga, bro. Māori and law, both LAW and LORE, bro. Talk to me about your when I throw that at you. What do you think of straight away?
Conflict. Yeah. True. So that's the first word. There's two different systems between Te Ao Pākehā and Te Ao Māori, totally different in their views on the world. The Pākehā system is based on your individual rights, that you have entitlements to things like land, to money. In Te Ao Māori, it's you have responsibility and to others, to the land, to your whānau. So these totally different systems trying to coexist within one country is really difficult. So we know at the moment that the Pākehā system dominates. the society, and that's a real issue. Like SIF's justice system, you know, every day I sit in the court that I work in Manukau, so, you know, and I'm kind of fighting at the bottom of the cliff, trying to make small differences for young Māori that are stuck in the prison system, by using the law te ao Māori a little bit, but not enough. So yeah, the one word is conflict, I'd say.
Bro, I read something a couple of days ago that was quite distressing actually, and not in a professional sense, but like as a human being, bro, and it hit me quite hard when it said, and I can't remember who wrote it. It said there's a generation of young Māori who are more accustomed to the inside of a courtroom as opposed to an inside of a wharenui.
Yes, bro. Yeah, I see it firsthand. There are Māori kids that see the courts as their marae. That's where they go to meet their whānau, to socialise. That's their marae, courts and prisons, which is really sad. And that's 3 or 4 generations of colonisation that's resulted in that. That their grandparents went through the system. Their grandparents are most likely wards of the state. Parents, you know, suffer from all kinds of issues, and then they are there too. So, yeah, that's what I don't want to continue is seeing our young ones think of courts as their tūranga waiwai or in prisons as well.
Is that like reflected in what, like you've already touched on it, but is that reflected in what you see daily at like the Manukau District Court? Like, is it brown faces through the door, a stream?
Yeah, probably most. I think I've only had one Pākehā client there, and a lot of Pacifica Māori, often from the north, and there are certain whānau that you know well that have suffered pretty badly. But it comes down to, I often see it SIFs early on in the parents or the grandparents' lives, being removed from whānau, and then that intergenerational trauma, and that's why it's really interesting today that we have so much attention on SIFs and their practices, because if we don't change things, honestly, it's just going to keep going and we'll lose more and more.
What's your take on that, bro, with the whole Oranga Tamariki saga? Like, can we touch on that, bro?
Yeah, anything, yeah.
Because, I mean, like, it interests me, and I've already seen some people come out in the media and talk about why are we putting a Māori label on something that is resolute in continually forcing the oppression of Māori children.
Yeah, bro, yeah. If you think about all the prisons too, like the youth prison in South Auckland, the name of that prison is Korowai Manaki. That's the name that we give to a youth prison, and it's not a Korowai Manaki. There's no awhi for those kids in that space. All the other prisons, you know, have Māori names. It's just crazy. Paremorimo, Peri, Wiri. It's, you know, it's shocking. And we've normalised that or accepted it. So it's good that Oranga Tamariki, there's not much they do about Oranga Tamariki, are being called out about that name. You know, and I know there is a place for removing young tamariki from really dangerous situations, but there needs to be a whānau first approach, so not just taking away the kid, but protecting the mum and the baby together. But that name thing is a big thing, and you know, that's one of the many battles I think we're all trying to get through.
Where do you see the growth if the government is looking to make change in that space and to appease what has already been done to help countless Māori families? What does the government have to do?
Give mana back to our marae, our hapu, our iwi to make those decisions. SIFs, education, media, justice, all those sectors, we need to give mana back to our people, us, to decide. And not just give us crap funding as well, because we know that in all these different areas, all our institutions are underfunded. And I often think sometimes that's on purpose to, you know, to really see if we can survive. You know, I know that in the health sector there were lots of Māori PHOs that had to close down because they weren't funded enough. In the justice sector, we have kōti rangatahi, so courts that sit on marae, which are problematic in some ways, but they aren't funded enough. There's not enough credit given to what those kaumātua do for these young people. So, you know, all through it, if the government wants to see change, we need to give mana back, but also funding in order for that to happen. Sorry, bro, you go.
No, bro, we started talking about prisons. We started rattling off the names of some Pāremoremo, Wiri, Rimutaka. One we didn't touch on, and I know this prison has quite a lot of cultural, historical, and deeply seated emotional significance to you, is Mautini, Mount Eden Prison. Talk to me about your family's direct connection to Mount Eden Prison.
So when I was a bit older and learning more about our whakapapa, we learned that we had a connection to Te Whakatōhea and Mokomoko directly. So Mokomoko was put to death at Mount Eden for a crime he didn't commit. And, you know, discovering that when I was interested in justice and some of the mahi that I do was really moving to think, sheesh, my ancestor was hung for a crime that he didn't commit. And then I looked at some of the representation that he received, which was shit, to be honest. There were 3 or 4 of them charged, one lawyer representing them all, and he just didn't have a fair go. So
just to provide a bit of historical context, talk to us through what transpired in Opotiki with the murder of the Reverend Carl Volkner, bro. Talk us through that. Yeah,
so there was kind of an incident that happened with Carl Volkner, and Mokomoko was making a stand against, you know, in an area, but he was wrongly accused for that murder that someone else actually committed. And the police, I guess, used that accusation against him to kind of arrest him and charge him in order to confiscate land. And later on, you know, once he was actually hung, and he was later exonerated for that, and moved from Mount Eden, because that's where he was buried, back to his home in Te Whakatōhea. You know, and to be honest, I don't know enough about him. You know, like you know, I guess I'm too busy, but to be honest, I need to go home. I've had some emails from some of the aunties being like, come on, boy, come home and get to know that side of who you are. And I'm like, yeah, sheesh, I need to. So, you know, I do feel a real connection to that side because of what happened to him. And, you know, I feel motivated by his experience to make sure that there is no more injustice. I guess it's a pretty idealistic thing to say, but to be honest, that's like a big reason for why I work in Manukau, is to avoid that repeated cycle of injustice. Not people being put to death, but generations of Māori being lost to the justice sector. And it's not, people are losing their identity and losing who they are by just going to prison and thinking that's their marae.
Is that not death in itself, though?
Yes, yeah, bro, I was going to say that, and then I was like, maybe I don't want to whakati Mokomoko's experience, but it is kind of the cultural death of generations, and it's the government, you know. Crime hasn't increased, it's politics using crime to buy votes. It's the media focusing on all these horrific things, and then judges in the courtroom are thinking, sheesh, we need to you know, make sure that the public are confident in us, so we're going to send lots of people to jail. Māori, if you're Māori, you're charged with the same crime as a non-Māori person, you get treated differently, and it's the truth. So it's shocking, to be honest, and we spend billions locking up people, and more than half the prison are Māori, so there needs to be change.
You know what strikes me is, out the gate, bro, I'll say it, bro, it wasn't until, so when did Mokomoko die, bro?
1850, don't quote me on that.
1850s?
Yeah, I think it was 1858.
58,
yeah. Maybe not.
It wasn't until...
I should know.
Bro, it wasn't until 2011.
Yep.
He was pardoned by the government.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
2011.
Yeah.
I'm no mathematician, bro, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see 1858, the 1850s, to 2011 for this man to be formally pardoned by a New Zealand government.
I think it was Peter Sharples that pushed that through. Yeah, it's crazy. And for him, he's symbolic of what I do and the issues in the justice sector. He's one of many people that have, you know, suffered. It's not just about, you know, how he was wrongfully convicted, but there are a lot of Māori people that maybe do something wrong, but the way that we treat them is as if they need to be locked up and throw away the key. When often 90% of people that go to jail have a mental health or a drug addiction. Why don't we treat that rather than just, hey, go to jail and learn how to be a better criminal, or learn, you know, and then come out and you're worse off. So it is a big issue. Yeah.
What's we'll start wrapping this Mokomoko Kōrero, bro, for the time being.
Yeah.
If just so we're like fully aware, what's your direct relationship? Like, you touched on the fact that you were a descendant of Mokomoko. What's your relationship with this kaumātua, bro?
He's my great grandfather. I think 5 generations. Yeah. So and my great nana, she came up the line and married someone from Ngāpuhi, one of the many. Fell in love with a Ngāpuhi man. But we kind of lost that connection. So And I haven't been involved enough in the moko claim. I feel like sometimes I'm too hard on myself, and people tell me this, but I do carry this often question of myself: am I doing enough for that whānau? And I know there are people like Karen Moko who are doing lots of mahi. But I kind of feel sometimes that what I've done is being guided by his experience. And out of my whānau, I'm keen to get involved down there more than like Ngāi Tahu or up north as home. But I talked about his kōrero a bit in the TEDx. YouTube it if you want.
Google me.
Google it if you want, yeah.
Let's keep it moving along, brother. I do want to touch on, you did kind of go towards the fact that you're currently employed or working. Actually, I'll throw that to you, bro. Tell us your current employment status, what you're doing in the legal sector at the moment, bro, at this point in time.
So I'm a barrister, bro. So it's kind of not a barista, don't make coffees, but I do...
but you don't make a bad cup of tea, actually.
Yeah, not bad. It's a bit weak, but no, I work as a defence lawyer in Manukau, representing people that are charged through legal aid, so that they can't pay for it themselves. Yep. So lots of young people, so I appear in the youth court, and adults as well. And then I do a little bit of lecturing too now at AUT Law School with a great person called Kylie Quince, probably well known to the podcast, get her on too.
Yeah, she's me.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and then odd little bits and pieces, whānau stuff, bit of tweeting, bit of trolling online. That's about it.
It makes two of us.
Yeah.
Bro, how does one go about getting a job at the Manukau District Court and working alongside the great Kylie Quince at AUT, bro? Like, I mean, you can't just roll out of bed one day and walk into a job like that. Obviously, it's not just the University of Auckland Law School. Yeah. Talk us through what happened after Auckland Uni Law School, bro. Like, and go for it, bro. Like, this actually blows my mind that my tuakana went to a place like what you're about to tell us.
What to the States? No. I worked at the Crown as a prosecutor for 5 years.
True.
Yeah, so after law school, worked as a prosecutor, worked on some pretty big cases. The last case I did was two young people charged with murder. One was 12 and the other was 13, both Māori. Really tough case. That
was on the news, eh?
Yeah, bro, yeah. And then from there, went to the States and under a few scholarships and studied at Harvard. Said that I usually don't like saying it.
Can we just let's just slow the flow there. What like Harvard Polytech or like?
Yeah. Or Te Wharekura Harvard. Harvard University in Boston. I didn't even know where Boston was, to be honest, bro. When I got in, I thought Harvard was in Chicago, and people were mocking me. But I was really lucky. I applied for a few. I wanted to go to Hawaii because I thought I'm going to hang out with the kanaka over there. But then, I thought, hey, you can't really say hey no to Harvard. What an amazing place to go study. So I did law there. I did a master's in law, and that was a life-changing experience, being exposed to the... wasn't as hard as I thought. I had that straw man complex or this inferiority that I wasn't good enough.
True.
I thought I've had that my whole life, bro. This idea that I'm not good enough, that I'm not going to be smart enough to foot it there. I don't belong here. I remember when I first started law school, I had the same thing. Hey. I'm like, these are really genius people that go to law school. What am I doing here? When I worked at the Crown, I was like, these people are really clever. Do
you get it now, though, that you've got a master's in laws from Harvard Law School? Yeah. That's like, they talk about Harvard Law School on the movies.
Yeah,
like, what's that, Legally Blonde or
Legally
something?
Blonde, yeah.
This is Harvard Law School that gets written into scripts for Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
And you've got a legitimate master's of laws, bro.
Yeah. And what it told me is that I was nervous. I was really nervous about going there. I realised, though, that what I had was very valuable. What we have as Māori is the mātauranga that we have is so important around the world. The idea of papatūānuku, which we take for granted, that we have a Earth Mother that has her own mauri, her own life force. Yep. That blew their mind. From a legal point of view, they're like, oh, that's amazing. And I was like, hey, this is just one of the kōrero back home. It's not a big deal. Yeah. So you realise your worth when you travel, because in New Zealand, as Māori, we get beaten down a lot by the media, by Pākehā people. We think less of ourselves. When you travel, you really do value your own mana as a Māori person. So when I went to Harvard, I was super nervous, but I realised actually I have a lot of value. And the lecturers and professors told me that. They're like, hey, what you have is special, those whakaro that you have. So, yeah, for anyone that's thinking Harvard's out of reach, no, it's not. I wasn't the smartest. I worked super hard at law school, and you know, I didn't want to apply, but I did and got in. And you know, you can too. Who's out there and wants to do it?
That was a cheeky plug, man. I wasn't giving you free license to do a cheeky plug for Harvard Law School, bro. What sort of things do you learn at Harvard Law School? Like, for me, to be sitting across the table from someone from little old Pākehā Marae and Whāngarei.
Yeah, all kinds of things, bro. I did a lot of things on like mass incarceration, so they have issues with prisons over there, massive issues. So I learned a bit about their stuff. I did a course on human rights in the United Nations, so I did a bit of mahi in that area, and then wrote a few papers about treaty stuff. Don't want to bore them, bore the audience.
Treaty rights.
Yeah, treaty rights and all that kind of stuff.
Bro, did you see many similarities between what the African American people in America are going through?
Yep.
And what we go through? Many similarities, bro,
Yeah,
in
bro.
a legal sense?
Yeah, heaps. This lady called Michelle Alexander, who, for people that want to read her book on the new Jim Crow, it's an amazing book.
Yep.
So she talks about prisons as the new form of segregation and slavery. So for us as Māori, I think of prisons as a continuing form of colonisation, that the government is targeting Māori, sending them to prison to remove their Māoritanga, to remove their identity. So that's similar to the African American experience. There's all these people in prison that are losing who they are, and they have massive issues there. Same here in New Zealand. And then there's the Native American angle too. I wanted to go to Harvard to learn about First Nations and their governments, because I was thinking, hey, it's cool that you can go to a native reservation, not really reservation, a nation. They have their own court system, their own government, their own mana in some ways, to decide how their rohe is run. And I was thinking, why can't we have that back home? Why can't up north we have our own court system, our own parliament? That maybe it'd be hard to have a parliament up home, but you know, too many chiefs.
Too many chiefs, not enough Ngāpuhi.
But you know, I was thinking, why can't we have that up home? Why don't we have our own mana to decide how we take care of our own people? So that's going back to that OT thing and justice. That's the idea that really wanted me to go there.
Because you were over in Standing Rock, eh?
Yeah, bro. Yep.
What was that like?
Good, bro. Yeah, full on. I was working in a tribal court in Pine Ridge, the place where Wounded Knee happened. There were lots of big battles between Custer and the Crazy Horse and other chiefs in that area. So to go there was like the front line of their resistance back in the day. So I wanted to go there and meet some of the people. Yeah. Tough, really tough, seeing like 10-year-olds in chains in the court, because their native court isn't really their tikanga. It's been imposed on them by the government and then tied up with funding, so that they don't really have a lot of mana over their people. But yeah, so I worked there for a bit. Some stuff went down, so I had to leave and go to Standing Rock. That was like an amazing experience, just rocking up there. I borrowed one of my mate's cars and drove 5 hours and turned up. Didn't really have any plans.
Fire up.
And then started a Māori a Māori consulate, just this little 2-man tent next to the Hawaiian embassy. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So you were the Māori delegation. What's the head of an embassy called?
I don't know, bro. I was self declared. I didn't actually have any authority, bro.
Just call me Matua. Matua Kingi.
Yeah, I think just being a Māori person on the ground, they really appreciated that, because there'd been groups that had been there, shared our reo, and you know, I was just blown away by the reception, and I was like, it's all good. And then, you know, I was lucky just to be there at the right time, I guess, to make it there. You know, and then seeing what's going down at Mauna Kea with Kanaka Māori at the moment, that's really heavy. You know, in one way I'm like, man, I want to go back there, but then I feel there's lots of mahi to do in my own backyard.
Bro, what can we take as Māori out of all of these sorts of, you know, what's going on, Standing Rock, Mauna Kea? What can we as Māori take out of these to advance in a legal sense? Yeah,
I think for me the main thing is that if you exhaust all your options in the legal space, so if you go through the court system and they don't help you, politicians don't help you, you can still just you know, be active in the community, mobilise and do direct action. We're seeing examples of that in Te Mātou a bit lately. But basically my view is that direct action is always an option for us, and as Māori we have history of that, in like places like Parihaka, that peaceful resistance. Because we're a minority in our own country, we're not going to be able to get much sway in the government, but if they're big take, we can mobilise. We saw that at the foreshore and seabed. So yeah, that's what I learnt, is that there is a lot of value in our in mobilising, when we run out of other options.
Speaking of that, mobilising, bro, I was having this conversation today with some of the other bros, and they were saying that 2004, around the time of the seabed and foreshore, as pressing and as trying as that was, it was actually a good time to be Māori. Yeah. Because of the fact that we were, as a unit, Te Ao Māori was mobilising, and you saw that with the, that leaked into the political space with the creation of the Māori Party, bro.
Yes, bro. Yeah.
Albeit the wheels fell off, later down the track.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2004, 2005 was a good time to see Te Ao Māori working as one, bro.
Yeah.
Are we? How are we in that sense? Like, actually, we joked about it, but it is kind of too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I think it's also just a good time to be Indigenous, like on a global scale, because we have our whanaunga across the world that are in the same struggles as us. We aren't alone. Yeah. So we should tap into some of their experiences. That's why I wanted to go to places like Standing Rock to see. So yeah, that idea of realising we aren't alone. We have, there are lots of chiefs, but we need people to do the mahi. Yeah. But making sure we do travel to other communities to share our experiences, because lots of people think we have it sus. They're like, man, you fellas down in New Zealand, you've got it sorted, eh? And I'm like, I don't think so. Nope. But yeah, I'm not the I don't speak for everyone, but from my perspective, I think we are lacking in a few things, especially around our te tiriti, our rights as Indigenous people, our sovereignty, things like that.
Okay, that's an awesome segue into what I want to talk to you about next, the Ngāpuhi claim.
Oh, mate.
Let's go there, bro. And talking about the ceding of sovereignty, from a legal perspective, does Ngāpuhi, as it stands today, I think it's 106, 107 hapu of Ngāpuhi, do we have a legal leg to stand on to settle, to suitably settle our Tiriti o Waitangi claim?
That's a massive question, bro. Thank you for that. I think that, from my view, the policy of the government is not to give sovereignty back, And that's a big issue. Sorry, I shouldn't say not to give sovereignty back, not to recognise sovereignty, because we are sovereign. That hasn't changed, but what's happening is Pākehā aren't recognising our sovereignty. So their model that they'll often use is co-management, like with Te Uruwera, with Wanganui River, Waikato River. And I don't think that's going to foot it up home. I don't think we want to share power with the Crown. We want our own power. And I think that's fantastic to be staunch in that position. I know there are other people that want to settle and maybe, think that, hey, we can have our own systems, but under a Pākehā model, I'm not of that view. I think that we shouldn't settle until the government recognises that we have our own mana motuhake through he akaputanga and te tiriti. But I don't know. I don't have the answers.
Why aren't the government forthcoming in recognising that and doing that?
Oh, because the government wants to keep power. There's no government in the world really that's going to want to share power. They want to keep all the authority to make decisions and not delegate it or give it to Māori, because if they keep the power, then they keep the money, they keep the authority. But Māori want that, and we are entitled to that under te tiriti, but the government doesn't want to recognise it.
But then at the same time, with the general election coming in 2020, the Labour government of this time needs to recognise that 125,000 Ngāpuhi, registered Ngāpuhi, can easily say, actually, bro, you're out of here, sorry.
I wish that if they all voted too, if a lot of our people don't turn up to voting for various reasons. But yeah, we have and in the future there's going to be more and more Māori, because we're good at breeding. We have a young population that are continuing to grow. Pākehā are going to die out eventually, or increase. Oh, maybe not die out. Sorry, that's the wrong word.
Moe te Pākehā, you reckon?
Well, I think because we're growing. There's a lot more Asian people that are coming to Aotearoa. We have a lot of similarities with their culture, which is good. So, over time we're going to see less and less of those Pākehā white males in those positions of power that are not happy with sharing power with Māori, because they enjoy power. That idea that the idea of white supremacy, that white ideals are right, and anything that isn't white or Pākehā is wrong. So that's a hopefully over time will change.
This question's kind of teeing off, bro, and it's just teeing off into the dark. Will Ngāpuhi settle?
Yes, one day.
When?
I don't reckon it'll be for a while, bro. Yeah.
Like what, 5 years?
Yeah, I think there'll probably need to be a change in the leadership up home before we can reach a settlement. I think that some of the elders that are in those positions, maybe,
What are you wanting to see in the leadership? Are you wanting to see, because I mean, like if we, no, actually, should we go there with, no, let's not go there. But
You're throwing me under the bus here, bro. Some of those people are our uncles, eh? You got to be careful. But in the same, no, what you say, in saying that though, I do think that it's important to respect our elders, that we're taught that, but not be afraid to speak up if we disagree, because there are things that, sometimes we think, hey, maybe your time's up or you should move on. And there are a lot of young Māori people that have the energy to really make a difference. And up home I think we need some new people in there. But it might not be one settlement, it might be a few settlements. I don't think we're going to get a pan-tribal settlement. There are so many different hapu and maybe a few iwi up there. I don't think it's right to lump us all in one, because, that's the government policy, eh? They want us to fight.
This is the age-old chestnut divide and conquer, bro. And they're thinking, we'll throw some money at the Maoris and we'll make them think like they're winning. But what they've actually done is they've redefined tribal boundaries by saying, actually no, because you guys were fighting with your next door neighbours. When actually we're one and the same. And they want only one iwi maybe to have that area, or say you have the mana over that area, but historically that's not the case. And then we turn against each other, and that's what they want. So I think it's important to challenge, but also realise that we are playing into the Pākehā game, so that we need to focus on keeping our own mana as well. But it's easy for me to say. I haven't been involved that much. I know on the ground it's tough work, and I have a lot of respect for those that actually do the mahi. Bro, I want to talk to you through. I want to get into the short and sharp of legal cases that you've been. That you've seen, and that you've thought to yourself, well, this is interesting because it throws my legal brain out of spin with my Māori heart and my Māori brain. What are some of those cases? The first one I want to go off the top of my head, the Takamore case. Talk me through how Te Ao Māori met like an 18-wheeler truck with the law. That's a big one, bro. And you say that's daily for me, that question between the law and my heart being Māori, is just seeing kids that are so broken by the system and feeling aroha for them, but having to put on my legal cap and do my mahi, but with a Māori heart. It's really hard. Takamore is a really good example, because that was like you said, right in the bang of it, and the judges that made that decision put tikanga below Pākehā values. That's the nub of it. They preferred Pākehā values over Māori thinking around tūpapaku. So what that tells you is that judges are going to prefer Pākehā ideas. We work in a Pākehā system, it's no surprise. All of the judges who made that decision in the Supreme Court were all Pākehā. So it's we just need to get more Māori in those spaces too. Can you give us a bit of context behind the Takamore case and what kind of transpired leading up to coming to a head at the Supreme Court? So Takamore was living in Ngāi Tahu, I understand, with a Pākehā whānau, and hadn't had too much to do with his whānau back in Tūhoe for a while. As I understand, I might be wrong, his whānau went down and took him home. And then the Pākehā wife wasn't happy with that. She went to court and challenged the decision to bury him, and I think she sought an injunction. But basically it worked its way up to the Supreme Court, and the issue was, does she have the right to basically get the body back? And the judges, in deciding that, had to choose, well, what value system do we prefer? Do we prefer the tikanga Māori approach, where it is really important for him, I think he was the oldest son, to go back home, or do we prefer the Pākehā wife's wishes and her values for him to be in Christchurch near family, or the immediate family? So that clash was the big issue.
and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And I haven't thought about that case for a while, bro, but that really highlighted the conflict between the two ways of thinking, te ao Māori and te ao Pākehā, the importance of him going back to his tūranga waiwai. And I think he's still there. I don't actually know whether they've actually taken him.
It's quite it touches you over when you hear kind of things where tikanga meets ture or tikanga meets law.
Yeah.
And to know that these are real life, real events involving real people, and the law can do this to us as Māori people. It's you know, like someone like myself, a Joe Bloggs who isn't involved with the law, or who thinks he isn't involved with the law every day.
Yeah.
You know, when you hear stories like that, bro, it touches you. It makes you think, like, what if that was my dad? You know?
How would you feel about a judge in Wellington deciding what your tikanga means, what you are entitled to do as a Māori person?
And to understand the fact that tikanga, from those men who carried out that act to go to Christchurch and bring their body home, that tikanga was given by their fathers, who was given their tikanga by their fathers, who was given their tikanga all the way back to some of the greatest leaders of that iwi, that collective. And
that system's been in here for yonks, and the Pākehā system's been here for a minute, but the Pākehā system dominates the legal landscape. So it's that total conflict, and that's why I'm always thinking, how do we take back our own mana over those decisions? Having our own judiciaries or dispute processes, having our own governments, you know, that's going to be something I would like to see in our lifetime. And maybe it's when we get the right people in government, or maybe it's just we need to really put all our resources into getting the right people back home too.
Right, what are some of the cases that you've seen where tikanga Māori has prevailed? Like I'm no shadow of a doubt that there have been a few cases where tikanga has prevailed. Can you give us any off the top of your head, like
Foreshore Seabed case, or you?
Want to throw you under the bus again? But I mean, like the one off the top of my head was 2 years ago, and we need to be really careful here. There was a police officer who was involved with the whānau of senior Māori leaders, and the grandchild of senior Māori leaders.
Went to trial. He was not guilty, I think, of that.
Can you talk us through that with the faux kidnapping kind of thing?
Yeah, I think he was asked to do something by a prominent whānau and a kaumātua, and he did that out of respect for him. That'd be like me if a kaumātua came to me and asked me to do something. I would definitely consider it unless it was a crime.
So this is a senior police officer was asked by a prominent kaumātua.
Yeah, exactly. So and he did what he thought was the right thing to do. And kind of giving him a big scare about his behaviour to stop him from doing something that the whānau didn't agree with. And maybe, you know, I would have done things a little bit different, but I wasn't in his shoes. And he went all the way to a High Court trial, which must have been extremely stressful for him. And I know he's done a lot of good things in the community, this fella. And that whānau, we were dragged through the press as well. And I have a lot of aroha for that whānau too. So, but at the end of it, I think that maybe the jury got it right, because they understood that this guy was really just following what he thought was tika from these kaumātua. But honestly, that's like a small, not even a win in my eyes. It shouldn't have even got to court. The fact that it went to a jury trial tells you that the police and the lawyers decided to prosecute him. And legally there was a prosecution available, but there's always discretion. But what we know with Māori is that we don't ever benefit from discretion. It's always against us. If you're Māori, you're more likely to get stopped by the police for the same thing as a Pākehā, more likely to go to prison, more likely to be denied parole, more likely to be denied bail. So at every step of society, this isn't just the law, it's health, education, we are disadvantaged. So that's why I think, I sometimes think I speak up too much, maybe a bit out the gate sometimes, but I think that you need to keep pressing those buttons, because in New Zealand we are a little bit complacent, I think, with our successes and not pushing the envelope enough, because we have the knowledge and we have the skill to really push for more. And when I mean more, I mean like mana motuhake and tino rangatiratanga, so our sovereignty. So it's a big yarn, but those kōrero, I think we do get a bit complacent. And I noticed that when I travelled a bit, I thought, are we doing enough back home? Do I, and I'm not this is just my humble perspective. I'm not saying that I know everything. Sometimes I think I do. But it's just that idea of pushing more. I don't think he should have gone to court.
And you and I were already discussing this, and I think we're going to break soon, bro.
Yep.
You and I were already discussing this. I was the Māori television journalist who was covering that particular case. The one thing that struck me, and no cameras can film the jury, obviously.
Yeah.
That whole jury, bro, was white.
Yeah, of course. And
the Crown prosecution, there were brown faces who were coming through to getting onto jury, bro.
Yeah.
And the Crown prosecution was like, not them, out.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and this was one of my first big court cases covering as a journalist, and I was sitting there and I was going, fuck, out of it.
Yeah, and half the people that go to court don't understand what's going on because it's all this big facade, all these processes that sometimes I wonder if on purpose to stop people from understanding. That's one thing really important to me, is to make it accessible, easy to understand. But yeah, that's a tough case, that one that you were in, bro. But I'm glad I wasn't involved there.
Bro, we'll keep moving our conversation along. I been doing some studies talk about it, into this kind of space we're in at the moment, and understanding that we're in a post-settlement space.
Yeah.
What does that look like for te ao Māori? And I don't know if it's reclaiming or understanding or realising our mana motuhake and our tino rangatiratanga beyond the post-settlement space that we're in.
Yeah, that's so a lot of our settlements have been money. That's been the biggest part of the settlement. Obviously, there's been apologies, but redress or monetary settlements has been the main thing. And we look at Tainui and Ngāi Tahu, and they've done pretty well in that post-settlement space financially. But the thing that I often think about is, are we really pushing, like I was saying before, about mana motuhake? Are our iwi, do they have their own mana motuhake in the sense of their governments can make decisions about their own affairs? And I think the government has been really clear that they're not going to settle on that basis by giving authority back to our people to decide their own governments and stuff. And it's been a system of co-management. So where, like I used Ture or the Tainui River, where Māori and Pākehā share the decision making. But that's not really tino rangatiratanga in my mind. No disrespect, this is me being on the sideline.
Kōrero,
but I do wonder whether we need to push more for more than that, because we are still less than sovereign, in those spaces. And I know that the government will never say it, but what can we do to actually be sovereign? I think it's like a conscious mind frame. We are nations, and I think labelling ourselves as nations is a good start, and thinking like a sovereign person or a sovereign entity, that we have our own decision-making institutions, we have our own mana to decide things, and don't worry about what the government says. So that's my thinking at the moment. But I know that's harder to do in action. It's easy to just say this, but how would that actually work in reality? So I think our iwi are focusing on building up their banks, their putia, which is a really good thing. But the next step now is pushing from that economic space into a nation that actually can take care of their people. Because like we've seen with WINS offices with huge lines of Māori people out there waiting for help, the government isn't delivering the help that our people need. So I want to see Māori iwi take back all of those services and start to exercise our sovereignty by saying, we don't need the government to decide these things for us, we can do it all. We can take care of the education, justice, health, and because you fellas have let us down, and we want you to fund us for that.
How long before that sovereignty is realised in some of our Māori communities?
I think it's like a step-by-step thing. Like I was saying, maybe we start with healthcare or education. We kind of have our own sovereignty in some ways, and in those spaces with wānanga, te wānanga, the different wānanga that are across Aotearoa. But it's going to be a long thing. I think just we need to be more, and I know there are people that are purposeful in this, but be more purposeful in how we actually, step by step, take back each of those different things that we want and exercise it. But I reckon within our lifetime, bro, we can see iwi, take back all those services, have their own mana in those areas. But yeah, I know it's going to be hard.
It's quite an exciting prospect, and I don't know whether I should let the cat out of the bag. A lot of people already know because they came to your baby shower, but you're an expectant father, bro. Yeah, bro. So I mean, this is an exciting time for your baby to walk into a space where we've moved beyond post-settlement. We've moved into this kind of nationhood sovereignty that you're speaking about, bro. That's exciting time to bring a baby into that space. Yeah,
bro, I think so. And I know that people like Annette Sykes are still critical of these kind of the big fat cats at the top of iwi management that are doing well, and our people are not doing well. And I want to see more that trickle down to those in the community that really need help, that I see every day. And a lot of them are Ngāpuhi, and I really feel for them that are struggling. But I know it's a long process. It's not going to be easy to do that overnight. But I'm excited for my daughter, Ruiha, who's my Nana's name. Yeah. And I just want her to be brought up in a space where she's not, subject to racism, where she, can be Māori in all these different spaces and not feel like she's token or different. And she can go home and see our people prospering.
It's real, brother. That's real.
Because there's not much prosperous, things going well in like places like Ōtaika where my sister lives. It's sad going home and seeing it. Like all the meth that's up home, and all the different shit that's going on. So, and I'm not a saviour. It's us as a collective that we all need to, in our different spaces, do the mahi. But I want her to be brought up in a safe space too. Anyway, that's my rant.
That's probably one of the more realist things you've said tonight, my bro. I it hits me hard too, bro, as a father of two kids, bro, and to understand that we're fighting for these things for our babies, bro. Yeah. And I mean, it's quite special to see you and knowing you for so long. To as we're approaching, how long till baby gets here? Another
3 months. 3 months.
To understand that you're doing these things for 3 months time.
Yeah, scary, bro. No sleep.
Yeah, bro. Speaking of all that sort of stuff in Ngāpuhi up north, bro, I'm going to throw to our Waiata o te Wiki, or Tiamu o te Wiki, Jam of the Week. Our Jam of the Week, and I reached out to you on Facebook, was it? I messaged you and I was like, bro, what's a song we can do? And you're like, bro, can you please bring down Hātea? Hātea is my favourite kapahaka group in the whole wide world. So, kei taku rangatira, who am I to argue with the rangatira? Our Jam of the Week, Waiata o te Wiki, Hātea 2013, your favourite song, Waiora. It's the action song from Te Matatini 2013, and they actually had a really handsome second row middle that year.
Who was that? No, when was your dad there? He was the handsome one, wasn't he?
Oh, okay. Sorry. This is our Waiata o te Wiki, Hātea 2013, the Taumata Kōrero, Mr. Kingi Snelgar, Pēhea ori marae, Ngāti Tahu. Kia mau tonu mai.
Thanks.
E tātou mā koera ko tērā o tātou kapahaka, Hātea kapahaka 2013, and did I say that the second row middle was a bloody handsome bugger?
Bro, come on. I heard you the first time.
I just double checking. Anyway, e te tuaka nei te rangatira Kingi, I'll throw it back to you, bro. I'll give you the short ball.
Yeah.
King's College there, bro. Inside ball. I'll throw it back to you, bro, just to wrap us up with some of your final thoughts and sentiments with regards to this kōrero Māori and the law, bro. Over to you.
Yeah, bro. I guess just to thank you for giving me this opportunity, bro, to have a bit of a yarn. In terms of Māori and the law, for me, it's like just us as a collective doing the mahi, continuing to do the mahi in all the different spaces that we work in. But like I said, keeping that goal in mind of mana motuhake. As a lawyer, I sometimes lose the motivation and the will because it's tough. And I know for people like us that work in Pākehā spaces, it can get really tough. Yeah. So just keep that goal in your mind, that what you're striving for is important, and don't lose sight of that, because it's not about you, it's like about our kids too. So that's the only advice. It's hard, it's easy to say, hard to do, but you know, like I said before, I struggle nearly every day in my job. I think, should I want to quit now because this is war? And I'm sick of seeing all this you know, downtrodden people. But then I'm thinking, well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Might be someone Pākehā that has no understanding of this whānau. So yeah, just keep doing the mahi, and then in a few years we'll get the treats.
Oh, okay, bro. And for any of our viewers out there who are thinking, gee, this do the mahi, get the treats, this dude's a bit of a clever cookie, where can the whānau find you? Any of our viewers, where can they find you if they're looking for a sneaky 106 on the D-Lane?
Oh, discharge without conviction.
Where can our whānau get in touch with you?
I'm pretty busy, but if you can pay...
What can they pay? Can a crayfish?
Crayfish, anything. Oh yeah, I'm pretty flat out, but no, if you whānau want, just Google me. Yeah. You'll find me online. I've got a website But you know, there's a group of us actually at this place called Manuka Chambers. Sure. All Māori lawyers. We would be happy to help.
And I heard a little bit, he told me he takes payment doggy biscuits for Kiki.
Yep. Yeah, I'll take some treats for her, something for my fiance Chloe, some biscuits.
And something for our beautiful baby girl Ruiha.
Aye.
Bro, I'm going to wrap it up there. That's the Taumata Kōrero for another week. Thank you very much, bro.
Sure, bro.
Yourself, Chloe, and our baby for opening up tēnei o tātou whare ki tā tātou kaupapa, bro. 15 years deep, bro, and I finally got you on the podcast, brother. It's been an awesome chat. E tātou mā koera ko te Taumata Kōrero mo tēnei wiki. Another week done and dusted. A bit more dissemination of esoteric knowledge. Do you like that line? That's a bit of a line.
That's pretty big, bro. I hope it just doesn't bore everyone to death, but thanks for having me.
It's catchy, bro.
Yeah,
it's catchy.
Esoteric knowledge.
It's like you and I are like the 1-2 hit, like, you know. I don't know if you... Yeah. Anyway, we'll keep it moving along. You can find us Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes.
Yeah,
YouTube
true.
and not, bro.
I'm on Twitter too, so if anyone wants to see some trolling, find me on Twitter.
Bro, hey, this is actually about me.
Like, sorry. Twitter.
Yeah, find them on Twitter. What is it? At Kingi Snelgar.
I think it's like Kingi 187 or 1835. No, 187.
That's a good number. Kingi 1835, Kingi 28th of October, Kingi 6th of February, whatever it is. You'll find them on Twitter. Kingi Snelgar. I'm Raniere Harrison. Ko te pō e ka tau. Tēnei te taumata kōrero. Ka huri.
Kia ora, bro.